All right, it's time for Yogi and the Beachman. Hi, I'm Jim the Yogi.
And I'm Rick Beach the Beachman.
We're two Michigan transplants now living in Southwest Florida.
In fact, we're cousins born in 1964, just a month apart.
I like to meditate.
And I like to play bass in a band.
I'm into chanting Om.
And I'm into throwing down some classic rock.
But together, we're on a mission.
To promote people that are helping other people.
We want to make the world a better place.
One conversation at a time.
So sit back.
Turn up the volume.
And get ready to laugh.
Because we like to have fun.
While we spread the love.
Interviewing lovely people.
Chris Volgelsang, welcome back to Yogi and the Beachman.
Thank you so much for having me back
on the show. Oh, happy to have you back. And for those listening, Chris is a certified hypnotherapist, and we've had her on the show before in season 1. Now we're grateful to have her back for season 2.
It's an honor to be
And I
here.
feel like I neglected my duties because I never made an appointment with you, as you had a couple sessions with Jim. I'm sure we'll talk about that, but yeah, I feel like I just dropped the ball.
No worries. You know
but
what?
I still want to do that.
Yeah, your offer is not expiring.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
So no worries on that. And we can talk about what you want to work on. There's many things. So it's no problem. We can still do it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what's new with you?
Oh my gosh. I'm still trying to remember to start yoga.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be, it's just something I need to incorporate. You know, I have several keystone habits each day to kind of jumpstart my day. And I'm still working on that one. So, you know, I get up, I meditate, I have my coffee, I go out on the trail, try to get my 10 miles in, go to the gym, sit outside, do my grounding, get my sunshine in, also, you know, absorbed into my skin to help my sleep, and see a client, do some classes, and then off to work. So really, I mean, I'm getting it all in, you know. I mean, I'm a firm believer in, if you have a spiritual practice and you're learning something and then you're doing something for your body, that's a win. That's an all-around win.
Yeah, that
so
sounds like definitely.
I'm working on the yoga. We're going to get there. Maybe after I graduate.
It's funny, the last week or so, because we had a guy on last week, Cal, and I was kind of, okay, yeah, I got to get in. Or is that the one that I said I got up the next day at 7 in the morning?
Yeah, that was right after
it was Cal.
Yeah.
He goes, yeah, I get up, I do this. It's important.
Actually, it wasn't.
It wasn't Cal. Who was that?
No, it was Peak Mindfulness. Jesse.
Oh, yeah, that guy was cool.
Yeah.
And so the next day, I didn't get up, plant my ass on the sofa, and pull up my Twitter feed and sit. I got up, went outside, left my phone in the house, did some stretching in the sunshine in the morning. I'm like, what? And then I texted Jim. I was out proud of myself. Hey, I didn't do this, and I didn't do that, and I did do this and that. But then yesterday, kind of right back to the same old. But one day, but this morning, I got back in that routine. But but back on that point, doing some yoga has been on my short list for about a week now, where I just have to take and I figured if I start, and probably like you, let's do it together and commit to each other.
Okay.
And then next time we talk, is say, okay, how many times? To like 3 times a week, yoga starting tomorrow morning.
Yes, I like it.
All right, I'm in on that.
Yeah, I'm a fan. You know, we can remind each other, get into the routine, and then the reward comes, the 3 R's of forming a healthy habit. So it'll be a buddy system.
Cool. I'll shoot an email. 30 minutes yoga, done. Bam.
Yes, but you know, I think, Jim, it would be helpful if we could have just like a little bit of guidance. Like, this is a good starting point, if you're willing.
I'll tell you what, I will send you over a link to one of my favorite yoga instructors online to get you going. How's that?
I would love that.
Like a beginner package for something not too crazy.
Yeah. I'll do that. I'll send it to both of you guys.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
All right.
Cool.
All right, Rick, you're my yoga partner.
All right, we're done. I'm good to go on that.
And then if it really takes off, I'll do a Zoom partner yoga class.
Yeah, then we'll just do a class.
Okay.
With JP, yeah.
All right.
Well, maybe we should. That could be a cool spinoff to the podcast. Monthly yoga with JP, the yogi.
Who knows?
Yeah, that would be
Might work.
it might work.
Yeah.
It's growth.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So let's talk hypnotherapy.
Okay.
So I want to know, what do I want to know? I want to know more about this. So, I mean, you're in school for hypnotherapy now, right?
I am, yes. I became certified at the beginning of this year, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
pursuing my full 2-year degree in it, so I will be clinically certified.
Great. The whole crux is to get into your subconscious and work with that, right?
Correct. Correct.
Can you talk
So,
more on that?
sure, absolutely. So the whole mind, let's just envision if we can, the whole mind as a circle, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then the subconscious mind creates 88% of the entire mind. So
Okay.
it has a huge vote. It's basically running the show, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And from the time that we're born up until we're about 7, probably about 8 years of age, we are in hypnosis, okay? We're in theta. We're a sponge, and we are recording
24/7?
everything. I'm sorry?
24/7 in theta brainwave state?
Well, while we're awake, I should say.
Wow.
Up
Okay.
And theta
until
and Rick the yoga dummy or meditation hypnosis dummy is going to ask what that is. What is theta?
So theta is a state, it's the brain state that we all go into just before we fall asleep. So it's a deeply relaxed state that the brain goes into, and it's where your critical mind is out of the way and your subconscious mind is wide open to whatever's going on. And this is why it's so important to be gentle with yourself just before you fall asleep. So around the age 8 is when the critical mind is formed, and it's a very thin layer. And that critical mind protects the subconscious mind. So it's sealing in all of those belief systems, okay? All of those.
And when you say critical mind, is that like your conscious mind?
Not exactly. The critical mind is where, so about 8 years of age, right? Kids are
Okay.
figuring out that there's no tooth fairy and there's no Santa Claus, and they're starting to analyze. So it is going into the conscious mind. But they're starting to question things, basically. And then just above that is the conscious mind. And that's just 12%. And so that's where your reasoning is. That's your that's your willpower, it's always around unless you need it. And so you have the whole mind right there. Okay. So when we go into hypnosis, sometimes we're in hypnosis and we don't even realize it, which is, let's say, while you're driving, while you're watching a movie. This is why we get so enthralled and like really, really into the movie. We're crying, we're laughing, we're really resonating with the character. We're sometimes even, pulling for the bad guy in the movie. Because you're in hypnosis willingly. You're in hypnosis. And, driving, I'm sure that we've all done it. I know that I have, you end up at home, you're like, holy crap, I don't even remember driving home.
Right.
Or you drive past your exit.
So that
Right.
that would technically be a hypnotic state if you're just totally zoned out. You're in that case, what your subconscious just kind of driving you home, and because you've done it a million times,
Exactly.
and your
Exactly.
conscious is just kind of along for the ride at that point.
Yeah, I mean, you know the way, you've done it so many times, and your subconscious is really where your behavior is. So we're
So the
doing
critical layer separates those two things. Getting back to
correct.
that, that's okay.
Correct. Exactly. Exactly.
Because the original
Um,
question was on theta.
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay.
So
And normally throughout the day, we're normally in what, beta brainwave state? Is that right?
I do believe so, yeah.
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 And alpha is a pretty powerful state to be in too. I've
It
done a lot of
is.
work with alpha waves.
Have you?
Yeah, Jess Stern wrote an amazing book called The Power of Alpha Waves, and I was reading that when I was in the Navy underway, and started doing all these different experiments with working with alpha waves, and it's
Mhm.
pretty powerful. You can do some cool things.
You can. There's some serious meditation. If you sit long enough, you can get into alpha, and that's really there's a lot of magic
Hmm.
in
Yeah,
there.
magic's a good way to describe it because I could
Yeah.
change clouds. I swear I could change the weather, just different things in the alpha wave state. They say
Yeah.
you can tap into other people's minds. Oh,
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, I mean, we really are all connected. Um, so yeah, there's beta, which we are in now, and then there's high
mhm.
beta. So if someone were to let's say if I were to say to you guys, okay, now pay attention because there's going to be a quiz after this. And then we're going to reveal the answers on air. You guys would go to high beta. So yeah, there are different brain states, and then delta, of course, is deep sleep, is which what we fall into at night. But theta is just one of those stages in the deep relaxation before we get there. It's highly suggestible, highly suggestible. So, and we all slip in and out of this throughout the day. We just don't even realize it. Having low blood sugar, let's say if you're not having your protein every 2 to 3 hours, you can slip into hypnosis.
Hmm.
So it's very important to have that healthy diet.
So if you're going to sleep with the TV on, it's probably not a good idea to have some kind of negative stuff on there rolling as you're dozing off.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes, it's very important to be gentle with yourself. Maybe instead of watching TV, you can write your affirmations down and rewire the frequency of your subconscious mind to create the life that you truly desire and deserve.
Yeah, probably
Mhm.
better than like World War II documentaries. I've been going to
Yeah,
sleep
I
through the
would
last couple of
not
weeks.
recommend going to sleep with the TV
Yeah, probably. Right.
or
Right.
radio.
Or the news,
Yeah,
you
the
want the
worst.
good. Remember, you are designing your life. We really are the co-creators. So when we make our choices, we want to choose from love instead of fear. So we want to put that good, loving programming down into the subconscious mind where it sits all night, and then we wake up and we're ready to start our day and we're choosing from love.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a great way to start.
Yes.
Big
And then
on
we can do
love.
our yoga.
Because I literally go to sleep every single night, listen to a podcast,
Oh, interesting.
some kind of talk radio in my
Really?
ear. I kind of zone it out. I sometimes, but usually I can get to sleep in like 2, 3 minutes. But if I'm Carrie likes the TV on. I
Mhm.
hate that. I
Yeah.
don't want light on in the room. I put a shirt over my head or a pillow over my head
Mhm.
and stick a podcast, and then I can zone out the TV, which I don't like hearing because commercials and change levels and whatnot.
Yeah.
But and I can go to sleep in seconds. But I never really thought about that transition period and that you want that positive suggestibility as that's happening.
Yes,
All
exactly.
right, challenge number 2.
Well, as long as it's positive, I don't, it's not bad to listen to podcasts before you go to sleep.
No, it's mainly like political stuff and nothing warm and fuzzy.
Not a lot
But
of love there.
no, not a lot of love. Where I could probably just as well listen to like some kind of go to sleep meditation and kind of be in that cool state of all right, I'm there.
So, so you took me through a hip, past life hypnotherapy session. So I want to pull up my email because I responded to you with some feedback, and I don't remember exactly what it was, but so these are my words I'm reading. I felt better than I have felt in a long time. Literally
Years.
years, literally. Physically, my body and especially my back feels amazing. I woke up without feeling sore, tight, or
Old. I can. Want me
I
to
don't
read
know.
it? I
Yeah, I
can
don't
see
have
it
my
perfectly.
glasses on. You read it.
I wondered. Yeah, I wonder what's going on here. Physically, my body and especially my back feels amazing. I woke up without feeling sore, tight, or old. That's an amazing thing for me because my body hasn't felt like this in over a decade. I feel younger, vitalized, stronger, and more flexible, which has made me moving so much more naturally. Which has me moving so much more naturally. Eventually, emotionally, I'm feeling joyous. I usually feel pretty good, but I feel even better than usual. Energetically, I feel like I'm radiating. Abby, my wife, says she's noticed a big shift in my energy vibration. Mentally, I'm feeling more clear and focused. I appreciate the work you've done with me, and I look forward to talking about it when we podcast again. Wishing you the best.
Yeah. So we went into this with the goal of past life regression, which didn't happen for me, which we'll talk about in a minute. But all these other positive benefits of the hypnotherapy, I can't say enough about them. I mean, it was tremendous. It was like life changing. It was like, wow, I got all that out of. We did actually ended up doing a few sessions, and literally felt amazing.
So you had
Yeah.
said last time we talked to Chris that you didn't, that you had been that you didn't think you were hypnotizable, or you had went through a couple sessions previous and you didn't think it worked or affected. So
Well,
what
I've
was that?
been, yeah, I mentioned being on stage where they call you up and put you into a state, and
Okay.
they sent me back down because they said I wasn't susceptible enough. I didn't do what Megan did, your daughter, and do the crazy chicken and all that other stuff.
Right.
So,
So what was the difference? Well,
well, I don't think I would have done crazy chicken if Chris had suggested it. But I was in a very deep state of relaxation. Um, I literally felt my spine popping into place a few times on its own, uh, which felt cool. Because I mean, your spine's held in place by your muscles, and if your muscles are jacked, tightened inappropriately on either side, then your spine's out of alignment. So when your muscles of the spine will relax completely, then your spine can align itself naturally. So that was happening. And just yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, you were
Um,
relaxing and letting go. It takes a little bit more for you. You
mhm,
were definitely in hypnosis, but you
mhm,
weren't quite ready to cross the threshold yet. Like
yeah,
literally, you weren't there to where you would go through that doorway
mhm,
to explore the past life.
yeah,
Um, however, I am still happy to work with you because I know that this is important. Sometimes there is a little bit of resistance, and that's okay. You experience that resistance, I think, on stage where they couldn't get you in. Um,
mhm.
so you're in hypnosis. You just need a little bit more work, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But you went in. You're great.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
well, it's cool you got all those positive benefits out of it.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, I didn't have any past life regression experience. Like she talked me through it. I was there. The idea was to go through this door now and see some of your past life stuff. But my subconscious got to the door and was like, nope, far as I go. And I wanted to go through it. Yeah, that's just where it stopped. But all the other benefits and um the other vocabulary that you used and the words that you used going in and coming out, I can't remember exactly what they were, but I think had a profound effect. Like you'll feel more energized, you'll feel more, I don't remember all the words, like I said, but I think those was suggestible.
Mhm.
I was able to take those, my subconscious was able to take those suggestions, and it definitely made a change in me.
Yeah, absolutely. So what it is so I sprinkled in some stuff for you to feel more connected,
Hmm.
to feel more, loved, deeply loved, to trust yourself and that sort of thing. And all of this takes you to the next octave. So you have literally experienced a shift in your vibration,
Hmm.
which just puts you on a higher road to experience more great things in all
Yeah.
areas of your life,
Hmm.
because like I said, the mind runs the show. the subconscious mind. So what the brain can't handle, it gives to the mind. What the mind can't handle, it gives to the body. There's a lot of things that we don't realize that we're not processing, and it will slip into the body, and that's where it does manifest. And sometimes that's where we get into illness and, um, pain, that sort of thing. So we got you into hypnosis, and you just needed, it needs to be on your terms. And
Yeah.
that's absolutely okay. So then your body says, okay, and this is one of the reasons why you began to feel better. And then, the shift in vibration, your wife noticed this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I would think that hypnosis is kind of like meditation, because when I meditate and when I first get into it, and I haven't done it for a while, it takes a while to get focused. And I mean, and the more you practice meditating, the better you get at it. I would think that because it's so close, that those two things would really be related. Where now JP did this again with you. Now he's already 3/4 of the way there. And now you don't have to get him, take those baby steps to get to that point. You can just start at a further starting point, and with practice probably make that happen, whether it's past life regression or whatever you get to behind that door, so to speak.
Yeah. We'll get your foot over that threshold.
All right. Start my toes.
But I'm wondering, I mean, does hypnosis work like that, where the more you do it, the easier and faster you can get there?
So, some people are more suggestible than others. Okay. There are some people that are right in the middle, and they are pretty much in hypnosis all the time. I'm one of them. So I have to be careful with my environment. I have to be careful with my blood sugar. The more work you do with someone in hypnosis, the more suggestible you will become. So eventually it just gets to a point where you're slipping in quite quickly just by hearing my voice. If I worked with someone for a while and then I didn't work with them for 10 years, they would go right in.
Wow.
Really?
Mhm.
It's still
Yeah.
back there on the hard drive way in the back.
That subconscious mind. Exactly. It's a known is what it is. It's a known. And if
Right.
it's in that subconscious mind as a known, then it's safe. Okay. Doesn't always mean that it's safe, because going back to childhood, from the time of 0 to 7, 8 years old, there are a lot of things that happen, and the child is basically recording this, and it goes into the subconscious mind as safe, even if it doesn't serve their highest good. Okay. So this is why later on in life, we do some work with hypnosis to change those knowns around so that they can, be in the relationships and be in the environment that does work for their highest good. Because the conscious mind knows, hey, this isn't working for me. Why am I falling to this relationship? It's the same one over and over. Well, it comes from childhood. But going back to what you were saying, though, if a person does meditate on a regular basis, they are going to slip into hypnosis a little bit more easy. Because they are in theta when they meditate, and the more you practice, the more you can get done. I mean, it's, practice with anything that we do, the more we do it, the better we get at it. So with hypnosis, it's kind of like meditating with someone, and I am giving those suggestions to put into the subconscious mind to change those knowns around. But in the beginning of the session, we're going to talk about, how do you want to feel versus how have you been feeling? What are the changes that you want to make? What have you tried to do to make these changes? And what's the goal? Let's have a good, clear vision of the goal of of the life that you want to live, right? So we work on it for probably about 15, 20 minutes. And then after that, we go into hypnosis, and it's not intoxicating, not always. But then suddenly you just realize that you don't have that problem anymore. Or, gosh, I'm not afraid anymore, you know, like last, for example, um, I did some work for myself. Well, I had someone do the work for me for driving anxiety. And I had terrible driving anxiety. It started about 3 years ago. I could not drive on the highway without feeling like I was going to faint. I was so dizzy. I never had that problem before. And I did the work. I did probably about 6 sessions. And then just a couple months ago, I drove down to Florida and back without any stops other than just gas. I mean, I didn't have to get a hotel anywhere. I was okay. I had an anchor and I think I used it probably about 2 or 3 times. And I used the anchor, envisioned the word calm across my forehead, and I was totally okay. I made sure that I had some protein next to me so my blood sugar didn't drop. But yeah, it's absolutely amazing. I mean, I meditate and I've been doing that now consistently, sometimes twice a day, but I have to meditate at least once a day. So it has helped to get me there, but it's almost, in a way, it's almost like guided meditation. In the beginning, though, we're going to have a plan. So what have you been doing? How have you been feeling? Okay, let's do this. This is what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to feel. So it's a little bit different, but it is similar, and it does help if you meditate.
Yeah, I was really, my question really was more that, and I think you did answer it just kind of in a different way, that the more you do it, the faster and better you're going to get at it, whether it is meditation or hypnosis. That was kind of just asking you if there was the same analogy there. And well, you did answer that. So I would think that the more, like, if you, once again, if you went back and did it again, you'd probably be out, 3/4 of the way there for your next time through.
I hope so.
Yeah.
You mentioned an anchor. What can you talk more about that?
Sure. Yeah. So an anchor is something that we create in hypnosis. It's to bring a calming effect. So when your nerves really start ramping up, okay,
Mm-hmm.
we can use it for quitting smoking, um, driving anxiety. And all we do is it, like I said, it's created in hypnosis. So you pull your index finger and your thumb together, okay? And
Okay.
while we're doing that, we also envision the word calm across the
Okay.
forehead. Take a nice deep breath in, and it just brings the heart rate down. It's not intoxicating, but you're getting through it. And then, I don't think I've ever even had the conscious thought of, okay, I can release my anchor now. I'm just relaxed and I'm going right back to, the place that I need to be to get to my destination. It's coping, really. It allows you to cope.
Yeah. It's kind of like a reverse trigger in a way.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. I like
Okay.
that.
I didn't know if it was something physical, like you brought like a little talisman or something like that with you, but it's literally you created the touch of the index finger to the thumb.
Like a pressure point.
Yeah, yeah. So we want to make it easy to access. We don't ever want
Mm-hmm.
to we don't ever want to put you in the position where you have to remember to bring something with you. So no matter
Yeah.
where you are and what you're doing, you're going to have that. So you can be in a doctor's office, you can be in a meeting, driving,
Mm-hmm.
it's all right there. Um, and it's incredible. I mean, I think it's necessary, at least with the hypnosis that I do to help people to quit smoking.
Mm-hmm.
And then breathing in, of course, tying it in, and you want to be in your body. So connecting with your body, and it really brings you, it's grounding is what it is. It's
Mm-hmm.
very grounding. Yeah.
Oh, glad that you mentioned that you did it through like 6 sessions because I was curious, like, it's so obviously hypnosis isn't a one and done. It's a
Right.
process.
Right.
And I imagine it takes some people more, some people less, and depending on what you're working to overcome, it's going to vary.
Exactly. Yeah. Healing is in layers.
Mm-hmm.
So, it starts with it's trust, and it goes from there. Typically, And I don't like to say, 6 sessions, you're done.
Yeah.
It's sometimes people can nail it down in 3 sessions. Sometimes it takes longer.
Okay.
Sometimes, you get to your goal, you've reached your goal, let's just say it's 6 sessions, and
Hmm.
they're ready to work on something else. Yeah. So
Okay.
it really just depends. Like with the driving anxiety, we had a goal of 6 sessions and we were able to get it nailed down in 6 sessions. Um, I just had been in a lot of car accidents. So um, we had some, we
Don't
had to
give you
go through
anxiety.
each episode, none of which were my fault, by the way. None
Okay.
of them. I had been rear-ended. Okay.
There's a million comments I'm not gonna make.
I,
Good,
So
Rick.
no,
Good. I'm proud.
yes.
Well, you're exercising your
I
filter.
do like
That's
I do like to make those. Hey, what's funny is funny, but I'll leave it out.
okay.
I'm sure you're a fine driver, Chris.
yeah, I've been driving since I was 10. I grew up in
Oh,
the
excellent.
country. Yeah.
And
Nice.
where are you located again? I forgot.
Cincinnati, Ohio.
That's right. It's
So it's
starting to get a little chilly up there too, coming into winter.
well, you know what? Today is actually about 87 degrees.
Nice.
It's still feeling a little bit like August, and we're in a drought. I'm looking forward to the cooler nights. I
Mhm.
love fall. It's my favorite time of year, but I don't know why. We're holding on to summer.
I've heard that even up in northern Michigan, it's been pretty warm up there as well. So, is there some recommendation that you would make to somebody before they try hypnosis? I mean, should they do anything differently to prepare for it?
So that's a great question. So to really prepare, we want to make sure that you have good blood sugar levels, of course, so maybe eat some
Hmm.
eggs, get your protein in a couple hours beforehand. We want to we want to stay away from those pastas, those breads. Okay.
Heavy carbs.
Um, yes, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. We recommend no alcohol or any plant
Hmm.
medicine within 24 hours of the session.
Okay.
A good night's sleep is super important. Some
Hmm.
people fall asleep in hypnosis. I like to record my sessions so that they can have it and they can listen to it just before bed instead of,
Hmm.
a podcast about politics. Um,
Appreciate
I'm just
that.
mess. I'm just messing with you.
I gotcha. I like it.
um, but just a good night's sleep is important because
Yeah.
once you slip further down beyond the theta and you go into delta, you're not going to gain any of those suggestions. So
Okay.
if that should happen, I would do my best to just gently wake you up. But again, we're doing the session and record, so you could
Hmm.
benefit from it later on.
Yeah.
Um,
Except in my case where I screwed up the recording somehow.
Did you really?
Yeah.
it's a learning process. We're
Yes.
growing.
Yes.
We want to stay away. I mean, you can have caffeine, you can definitely have a cup of coffee, but there are some prescription medications um, that we would probably want to stay away from. So what I like to do with my clients is we do kind of like an onboarding process, the intake, and on the
Hmm.
intake form, it will have the prescriptions listed. And then we can talk about that. You always want to be in a setting where it's private. This is
Yeah.
your room. We want to make sure that we don't have any disruptions with animals
Hmm.
or kids or anything like that. Life happens, let's just say that someone comes into the room. You're not going to be pulled out of hypnosis. If anything, it'll probably send you deeper. It's reactionary. So that's another message unit that's breaking through. So you will go deeper. Which going back to your question earlier, Rick, it takes an overload of message units of the critical mind to get down into the subconscious mind. That's how we get down into it. So when you're overloaded, great, you're dropping in. Um, Really, we just want to make sure that your laptop is plugged in and you're ready to relax. We want to make sure that your legs are uncrossed, your feet are uncrossed, because we want to keep you open to suggestion.
And
And
I think what you said earlier is just have a goal.
yes, have a goal. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Mhm.
Sometimes confidence is a big goal. You know, we all struggle with feelings of unworthiness at times, of, confidence and, obsessive thoughts that just keep ringing, even when there's no proof that there's really anything wrong. But let's face it, I mean, we can all get up in our heads too much. So it helps to also calm that voice down.
Are there particular things that are easier to overcome and things that are more challenging to overcome in hypnosis?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. As with anything, I think really the most important thing about that is that you need to want to be there.
Mm,
If you don't want to be there, let's just say let's use smoking as an example, because this is a big one.
okay.
Um, let's say that a client comes in and he says, I need to quit smoking, but
Mhm.
I really love cigarettes. And they just help me
Mm,
relax and they give me a break. And yeah, I know they're expensive but I really love them. I really enjoy them. I enjoy watching the smoke, and if this is my time, I never get any time to myself. This is my break. But my wife can't stand that I smoke. So she did some, online research, and she found you, and she wants me to quit smoking through hypnosis. This probably won't work. And the
yeah,
reason
that makes
why
sense.
is because he doesn't want it.
Right.
He's not going to be open to me. If you're doing it for anyone besides yourself, it's likely not going to work, even
Mhm.
if what you're doing doesn't serve your highest good. Until you actually want it, I mean, you can show up and go through the motions, but that's about all that's going to happen. You know what I mean?
Yes, yeah, totally
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. Um, Really, that would be probably, and I mean, that's just smoking as an example, you know?
Mhm.
And I think with anything in life, not just hypnosis, you have to show up for yourself. You have to really want it. You have to push yourself to get there, to reach your goal. And is it your goal or is it someone else's goal? It should be your goal,
Yeah.
right? So,
And
Yeah.
you've mentioned 3 or 4 times about blood sugar. What's the connection there?
yeah. So when the blood sugar drops, okay, if we're not getting the proper amount of protein, ideally you want to, of course, this isn't going to work for people who are allergic to nuts in any way. But if you can get, protein with you about every 2 to 3 hours, if you can just get a little bit at a time, almonds are the lowest calorie, then it will keep your blood sugar stabilized. What happens is if your blood sugar drops, you're falling into anxiety. You are now vulnerable to anything that happens around you. So, sometimes people get angry.
Mhm.
Yeah. So they're very suggestible to the things that are going on around them. Um, so we want to keep that stabilized. If you have low blood sugar, you're in hypnosis. If you're anxious, you're in hypnosis. Um, and sometimes, you can be okay. You can be okay, but let's
Well,
just say,
someone listening to this, Chris, is going to say, "Wait a minute, I'm anxious all the time." The college, my daughter's working on her master's. She's got this big project coming up. She's anxious all the time. Well, she's not anxious all the time, but if you know what I'm using an example, I'm anxious about this test or this module I got to get done. I think she would push back and say, "I don't think I'm in hypnosis. Why would I would be? Why does that qualify
Hypnotic state.
as a hypnotic state? That, or what else did you say? You said when you're anxious or when you're
Blood sugar's low.
or
Angry.
feeling those type of things, yeah, or yeah, angry or when
Angry.
you're hungry because your blood sugar drops. Those are like by definition hypnotic states just because of these certain things are happening, or just kind of expound on that a little bit.
yeah, absolutely. So We're going to get down into the subconscious mind by overloading the critical mind with message units. Okay. So the more message units you get them from your body, you get them from the people around you, from your environment, from anything that's going on. So when you have that low blood sugar, you begin to get sometimes into fight or flight, and you're not processing, you're not rationalizing these thoughts as well. It's called hypersuggestibility. So it happens also if you don't get enough sleep. Someone who's not getting enough sleep and they're not getting the proper diet, they're just not able to handle the things going on as well as they typically would be if their body were getting everything that it needed. So this is how they become suggestible to things that probably wouldn't bother them so much.
But what I was asking is, you said having in an anxiety state is being in hypnosis.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't get that. Why would that be the case?
Because when you are having anxiety, you're being overwhelmed with message units. And those message units are breaking through the critical mind, getting down into the subconscious mind. If you're in
But not in a
anxiety,
positive way, it sounds like.
right. If you're having anxiety, you're overwhelmed. If you're
Okay.
overwhelmed, that critical mind is breaking open, and now we're getting down into the subconscious mind.
So
Typically,
technically that's a hypnotic state.
yes, yes, that is a vulnerable area for those message units to get down into the subconscious mind. And so typically, if you're feeling anxious and overwhelmed, you're not feeling real safe at that time. So we want to make sure that only positivity gets down into the subconscious mind.
So if somebody's really anxious, they're going through this, they're opening up that critical layer. I feel that sometimes people in that state aren't open to positive messages. Is that,
Did you
am I
say are
wrong on that?
not?
They are not open to positive messages. I mean, they feel like they're in fight or flight, and they're kicking and screaming basically internally.
Right.
So are they open to positive messages at that point, or is it just all the negative clatter going in to the subconscious at that point?
I mean, they're open. They're open to whatever is occurring at that time. That's But the thing is, if they're in fight or flight and they're feeling that anxiety, chances are they're in an environment where they're not feeling really good, and it's going to associate negativity. So
Well,
it's
this
going
is
to
something I
drop
believe you
down
have
in
to
that.
self-diagnose. I know when I get funky
Mhm.
and I get in a bad headspace, I recognize it. And I know, oh man, this is not, I felt like this yesterday. I'm moody. I don't want to go outside. I just want to sleep, man. That's a problem. I'll give myself a day of that. But then on the second day, I don't want that anymore. I need to get out of this funk or whatever. And I could see where in that situation, you would be more susceptible to negative and positive interjections, but you have to want to be. I mean, I've been in relationships where who I'm with just won't. They don't want no part, and I think maybe I'm thinking about more of like a mental depression than a anxiety situation, but I think those are related. But it's hard to get somebody out of that unless they want to be gotten out and recognize it. And
You're
the first
right.
thing I do when I get that is say, I got to get outside and get a walk, get some exercise, get some endorphins going, or, I'm playing pickleball tomorrow for 2 hours. I'm going to sweat and that always is the best first step. But if you don't want that or recognize it, you're not going to be open, or that person is not going to be open to those type of, unless they are self-aware of their own issues.
Sure.
You're absolutely correct. You have to want it. Yeah.
And sometimes when you're in that state, you just don't want it. Just
You don't
leave me
think you,
alone.
you don't think you do.
Leave me alone.
You've got
I'll
the
talk
wall
to
up.
you, tell me, let me know. Yeah, but just leave me alone. Yeah, you got the wall up. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes people will hold on to their suffering, you know, So it's
But
really
that's
that.
not who's going to come to you and say, help me.
No, no, no. People who are coming to me have, unless they are really into holistic care, chances are they have tried everything they can to, let's say, get back on the highway. They've tried going
Mhm.
down 2-lane highways, doing 50 miles an hour, and that's not working. They can't get over 40, and now they got people behind them honking, and oh, that's more anxiety. Um, they've tried, and they're just not able to do it. So chances are they've tried everything else, and now they're coming to me saying, okay, let's do this. Or they're quitting smoking, like, oh my gosh, I've cut down, but then this happened and they had a triggering life event, and life happens. It's full of those. They just need a little bit of extra help. So we got to get that subconscious mind involved, because it's running the show. It has, I
Mhm.
mean, it drives our behavior at 88%.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like sometimes I can recognize my subconscious mind saying, craving to do something when I get in a stressful situation now. And then my conscious mind is saying, nope, I'm not going there. I know the results. I don't want those results. Even though
Homeostasis. Yeah, that's homeostasis. We're good here. It's safe. We're fine.
yeah,
Right? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because there's times in the past where I feel like I have to go do something I shouldn't do, or I feel that craving to do something I couldn't do because of my state of mind. But now I'm getting to the point where it's like, no, I'm not, no subconscious. It's not happening anymore. I'm not going there. So
Well,
I
that's
don't know.
kind of,
Maybe that's just wisdom kicking in from old age. I don't know.
or willpower.
The willpower. Yeah, that could be it too. But yeah.
Well, the willpower is in the conscious mind.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
you know, um, yeah, I mean, you have to want it. You have to want it. The changes that we try to make, and we do everything we can sometimes, and it's just not enough. And that's where the wisest part of your mind comes in. And
Mm-hmm.
that's, the conscious mind saying, okay, I know this isn't good for me. Let's do something. How do we get that 88% on board? Let's overwhelm it and get
Yeah.
those, break through that filter, and then try another way. Um and it's very effective. Like I said, it changed my life. It healed my skin. And again, I used it just recently for driving anxiety. I mean, I never would have thought that just last summer I'd be driving down to Florida and back. I still can't believe it. I still can't believe it, but I did it. You
What
know,
part of Florida did you visit?
we went
Mm-hmm.
down to, well, my brother lives in the Panhandle. But we drove a little bit further down to Destin.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
haven't
stayed
spent
a few
much time
days.
up
So we
there.
took
I hear that's
65.
just the beaches there are just amazing.
Oh my
I,
gosh. Gorgeous.
yeah.
Gorgeous. We actually went for about 5 minutes. My daughter didn't want to get out of the car, which I don't understand. But she was like, no, just go. And I was like, all right, I'm going to go down. I'm getting sand and water on my feet before we drive home. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's very calming too.
Yeah, oh, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the nice thing about here. I mean, we can literally go, and I've done this many times, just 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock after dinner. Hey, let's head to the beach for sunset.
Oh,
Just take a
yeah.
couple, either take a bottle of wine or just a lawn chair and
Mm-hmm.
go. And it does put you in a really good space.
Yeah. Yeah. It's those ions from the beach, and it just, oh my gosh, it feels so good. Just breathing it in, letting it absorb into your body, and it's serenity, I
And no
think.
matter whether it's the most fantastic sunset you ever saw or one that is maybe just an okay, it's still amazing to see each and every one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And just taking that in. And that's what one thing Cal was saying a couple of weeks ago was that, just you're already at the finish line. Just enjoy it while you're here and suck those moments in and be aware. Just be aware of what's going on. And there's really nothing better than being in that situation.
Yeah, I agree. I would be watching that sunset, absorbing as much as I can, every single night if I could.
I'd go
Good.
tonight if I had a windshield in my car. It's getting fixed tomorrow.
Um, so someone's listening right now and they're a little bit intrigued by your voice. They're thinking, man, maybe I'd like to do a session with her. How should they get a hold of you?
Path of Bliss Hypnotherapy.com is the name of my website.
Path of Bliss.
Path of Bliss Hypnotherapy.com.
Okay. All right.
PATHOFBLISS Hypnotherapy.com. From there, you can email me. My phone number is also listed. You can text me, call me. What I typically like to do is do probably about a 15-20 minute free consultation so that I can meet them over the phone. It's just strictly over the phone to talk to them about what they want to work on and understand what their goals are, just to get a better understanding of their needs, really. And from there, we will go ahead and schedule the first session. I like to do my sessions via Zoom. I record everything. The first session is always 90 minutes because there's a lot more ground to cover. And then after that, the sessions go for 60 minutes. I can do the sessions, like I said, over Zoom, but I can also do them over the telephone as well. I do not do any in-person sessions. And I can work with you from, wherever you are, as long as you have internet. I am on Eastern Standard Time. And there's a whole list of what we can work on my website as well. So sometimes people just want to explore it and they want to work towards getting motivated. We can work on motivation. We can work on anxiety, phobias, fears, better sleep, obsessions, nail biting, moodiness, mistrust, stage fright, skin problems. That was my intro to hypnosis. Bedwetting. There's all sorts of things that we can work on, but there's a whole list on my website, and then you can go ahead and reach out to me, and I'm happy to work with anyone who's interested in stepping into the highest expression of themselves and being more expansive in their lives.
I like that. The highest expression of themselves. That's perfect.
Well, normally Jim asks a closing question, but you just answered that.
Well, I was just about to.
Yeah, no, I think she just answered that closing question.
Well, let's see. So just recently, maybe the last 3 or 4 episodes, we started to ask this question. So I'll ask you, what are you doing to make the world a better place?
Oh, well, I'm doing a lot of it through hypnotherapy. As you know, I am forming a support group for anyone who has experienced ET abductions, and that is once a month. But I think that one of the most important things that we can all do, and I personally started doing, is to be accountable for ourselves. So, I know it sounds kind of cliche, but really, if you be the change that you want to see, ultimately. So I work on, when I wake up, I meditate, I do my keystone habits, I have my espresso, and I practice as much self-awareness as I possibly can. I choose from love instead of fear. And I think really from there, we have an adjustment within our vibration. And once we awaken our own inner light, people feel that and people see it, and then it spreads, and then their lights come on also, and then we just keep lighting up. So I mean, I think one of the biggest things that we can do is just really work on ourselves and to take accountability for ourselves. So, and hypnotherapy completely changed my life. And when I found it, I knew that I had come across something so amazing. I wanted to share it with as many people as I can. So I became certified, and I'm going as far as I can with it to be clinical, which I will be here in a few months. So I'm interested in working with as many people as I can.
And it's so much better if you're in that state or that stressful state where you know that you'd be able to help somebody with those issues, so much better than happen to the doctor and he's going to give you the prescription for the Xanax or the this or the that. And we've all know people that those lives have been destroyed by these pharmaceuticals. So I'm a huge advocate of anything. And I know I speak for JP on this note, that there, anything that can keep people off that and go to more natural, homeopathic, and really just the real ways that we should be living, not with all these drugs in our lives and pharmaceuticals that really, I think our minds have the ability to do for us if you can just reach them.
Absolutely. The power of the mind is absolutely amazing. I mean, if our thoughts can make us sick, our thoughts can also make us better. It's
And
the
Well put.
of
I've been,
belief.
Exactly.
you said something a couple months ago that I've been using all the time now, because
Okay.
before I would get, I got a stuffy, my eyes are water. I'm getting sick. I got to get ahead
There
of
it
that.
goes.
Now, and the last couple times I've had those feelings, and I remember this very sharply. Man, I'm feeling like shit. No, I don't. And then I thought of you and and the last one was yesterday.
Yeah.
My eyes are watering, mouth stuff. I'm like, no, I am not getting sick. This is not happening. And then an hour later, I didn't even think about it anymore till this very second.
Yeah. Our minds will take us down that track real easy. And the next thing you know, we are sick.
And before you said that a couple of months ago, man, I know I'm getting sick. I'm susceptible to sinus infections. If I don't get a neti pot in me and blah, 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 I'm going to feel like shit the next couple of days, and I get out of bed and this and that, and walking my brain down this path of illness. And just decided to go 180 degrees. Now, I don't know if that's why or not, but I'm in so far.
Well, there's countless books and books on the mind and how we manifest our own lives. And
Well, I'm in, so I'm a believer.
so
Yes.
everything, no matter where you're at right now, this is what you've manifested already. But you can change that with the power of your thoughts.
Yes, absolutely. You got it, Rick. So you didn't fall to it. You didn't fall to it. You
Well,
didn't.
yeah, that's why I hang around with this guy.
Rubbing off
And
on
meet
him a little
people
bit.
like you.
Well, you know what? One thing I started doing recently is when I wake up in the morning, I put my hand over my heart center and I say my affirmations. I'm so in love with my life. Things always go my way. I am financially abundant. I attract healthy and loving relationships. And really romanticize your life and feel that gratitude. And that's what I'm doing now before I look at my phone, before I even get out of bed, before I even meditate, anything. Right there. I'm setting my intentions. It's more than my intentions. I'm designing my life.
Yeah, you're walking the talk, and that's what makes you authentic. I love that about you, Chris.
Oh, I appreciate that. It's, I used to be on prescriptions. I was on a benzo once upon a time when I went through child custody for my daughter, and it's very limiting. And as soon as I was able to tap into my own inner strength and power, which I didn't even realize existed, I didn't even believe in myself. As soon as I started to tap into that, it just grew and grew and grew. And that's the light that I'm talking about. And every single one of us have this. And
Well, you unleashed 88%. Right? I mean,
well, I mean, that's a subconscious mind,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's inspiring words for other people that might be in that position that you were in before. So
Yeah.
find your own inner power.
We don't have to just go through it. We can grow through it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
we have
well
to
said.
understand that nothing's happening to us. It's happening for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Chris, we really appreciate you coming back on the show. Hopefully you're open to coming back on again in the future. We'd love to have you again.
And I'll be in touch. You said on your website is your phone number?
My phone number as well as my email address.
I'll text you, and then we'll keep our yoga accountability going.
Awesome. Thank you guys for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
I want a full report when we have you guys, when we have you back on.
Yeah, we'll see how it works.
Okay.
All right.
Always
Thanks
good
again.
to see you, Chris. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah. See you soon. So if you just listen to this podcast and you appreciate the content and the work that we're doing, we would love your support. Look in the comment section of this episode. Subscribe, rate us, comment. This gets our podcast in front of other listeners. And if you noticed, we don't have advertisers. For the cost of a cup of coffee, you can help keep it this way. Become a supporter right now. We'd appreciate it. I'm Jim the Yogi.
I'm Rick the Beachman.
Peace.